Progress in the fight against auto theft. It's down by 35% in York Region. We're going to have more on Operation Auto Guard 3.0.
More than $2.5 million in drugs seized, 10 guns confiscated, 34 people arrested in Project Hydrogen.
The head of the TDSB has been fired. The province says there's renewed focus on student achievement. We have reaction to this latest shakeup.
And we're less than 2 weeks away from Christmas, and police are trying to crack down on impaired driving this festive season. We're live at a ride check tonight.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Arda Zakarian. Welcome to Live at 5. York Regional Police are announcing the results of a campaign aimed at combating vehicle thefts.
And for more on the initiative, let's go live to CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan, who's in Markham tonight. Steve.
Yeah, Bakari, and Operation Auto Guard 3.0 is a good example of proactive policing. It was an initiative started in York Region, and it was done through data. It was data-driven, where they recognized crime analysis, recognized where the cars were being stolen, and through education and through enforcement, the police were able to really make a dent in the amount of vehicles that were stolen in York Region. Now, a lot of times when there is an initiative, the community needs to buy into what's being proposed by the police. And it certainly speaks to the relationship between the police and the community. If the community trusts the police, they will certainly take their advice. And this appears to what has happened up here in York Region, again, through enforcement, through education, and through the recognition as to where these vehicles are being stolen. York Regional Police were able to reduce the amount of cars being stolen year to date by 35%. As of November 31st this year, there were 1,635 vehicles stolen as opposed to 2,363 cars stolen. So that's a significant reduction, and that goes to the good work by the police and the buy-in by the community, and together they made this a tremendous difference when it comes to auto theft. Now, we did speak with York Regional Police with regards to this, and here's what they told us earlier. Let's listen.
A lot of it is crime of opportunity, and whenever we do recover a vehicle, we do everything we can to let the owner know that it is recovered. And sometimes it might not be immediately within a month or a year. It could be several years down the road. I know investigators who get contacted by overseas law enforcement agencies to say that the vehicle reported stolen in York Region is now in another country. So, you know, hopefully that brings some closure to the victims, but we do everything we can in order to bring that property back to them.
Police have recovered 73 vehicles to date, totaling $5 million, and 48 people arrested as a result. So back to you guys.
Thank you so much for this, Steve. Dozens of people have been charged in a gun and drug investigation dubbed Project Hydrogen.
The 9-month investigation covered areas across the GTA and even as far as Winnipeg. So police seized more than $2.7 million worth of illicit drugs, along with 10 firearms. They provided more details at a news conference today.
We are seeing a deeply concerning rise in gun crime. Violent discharge of firearms and shootings have increased by 10% this year over last, and we're already responded to 44 such incidents this year. The shootings have resulted in 11 victims suffering non-fatal injuries, and tragically 4 victims who succumbed to their injuries and are victims of homicide. A staggering 25% increase in victims over this time last year.
The investigation focused on a group of individuals who called themselves 44. This group resides across Durham Region and the GTA, and were suspected of being involved in the possession of and trafficking of illegal guns and drug distribution. Their criminal activities stretch well beyond Durham Region, reaching as far as Northern Ontario, as well as Winnipeg. Members of this gang have flaunted their illicit earnings on social media, glorifying a culture that celebrates financial success through criminal activities.
The operation involved police services across GTA as well as the OPP and RCMP.
And police are sharing their early results of their investigation into a collision that left a child dead in Hamilton yesterday.
A 7-year-old was hit by a bus near Emerald and Wilson Streets. It was shortly after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The child was rushed to hospital but did not survive. And police say investigators have determined that neither the bus driver nor the child's caregiver were responsible for the incident. That conclusion was reached based on witness statements and video gathered at the scene. Police say the investigation is still ongoing, and anyone with information, you are asked to come forward. Okay, with less than 2 weeks ago until Christmas, the festive season, it's in full swing. A lot of people, they're going to be heading to holiday parties this weekend.
Yeah, and that's where we find CP24 Sija Liu. She was live at Highway 400 and Steeles, where Toronto Police, York Regional Police, and OPP are holding a point ride spot check. Hi, Sija. Can you tell us more about this?
Arda Bakari, this is something police do every single year to make sure that drivers are safe on the road. Their annual festive ride campaign, reduce impaired driving everywhere. Right now, I'm at Steeles and Highway 400, where there is a joint ride check between Toronto Police, OPP, and York Region. And here to tell me more about it is Sergeant Brett Moore with Toronto Police Service. Behind him are his colleagues from York Region and OPP. And Sergeant Moore, tell us what is taking place here today. There are dozens of police cars checking drivers.
Yeah, so RIDE is we kicked off our provincial campaign last month. And it really is, it's as much about enforcement as it is connecting with drivers and families to make wise decisions in the holiday seasons, because we know the opportunity for get-togethers, office parties, celebrations are there. And a lot of the times that involves some alcohol, drugs, things like that, impairment. And it's really about getting the message out there to make the wise decision, to drive sober, and if you are going to partake, to have a plan before you start.
And the RIDE program has been going on for about 3 weeks now. You guys have been busy screening over 7,000 vehicles, 800 breath tests, around 93 people charged. What does this trend say about this holiday season? Is it worse than years before?
No, you know what? I'd say no. So I think the RIDE is one of those things that we ramp it up during the holiday seasons, but it's out every night. We've been at this. RIDE started in the 70s. So it's one of the best and longest established sort of impaired driving programs that the province has. But right now, there's a driver under arrest and another one on the way for impairment. So we have a long way to go. It's not a battle that we've won. So again, we have charged 1,300 drivers this year alone in Toronto for impaired driving, and we still have some ways to go. So that's why we do these things. We collaboratively get together with all the police services. This is a great example of that, and it really starts with the decisions before you leave the house. And if you're out there, just know that the police are sort of collaboratively working together to make sure that people have a safe and happy holiday season.
You guys have been here for about an hour. One impaired driver already caught. What are drivers looking for when they're approaching a vehicle and talking to the driver?
So the officers, they're highly trained, and they're looking for signs of, a lot of it's just being. I don't want to get the wrong message that all these drivers are impaired in our communities. It's the opposite. The vast majority of the interactions that we have with drivers are positive. The drivers are doing the right thing, and it's sort of a nice message that we're getting out there to have that connection. But officers are out there looking for the odor of alcohol or signs of drug impairment through different things that they're looking for, and just for a little sneak tip here for the community, we're outside in the cold, fresh air. When we go inside and have a chat with you inside your warm vehicle, the odor of alcohol or the signs of impairment are a little bit more pronounced. So officers are really looking at those kinds of things.
That certainly makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sergeant. Appreciate your time. And just to give you a better sense, we are here at Highway 400 in Steeles. Dozens of police officers for this ride check. They will be here for the next couple of hours or so, just making sure drivers are safe on the roads, they're not impaired. They will be pulling people over if they do sense that you are driving impaired. But again, this is the festive ride campaign taking place every holiday season. And here's a live look for you at just some trucks pulling in and police doing their work here. I'll send it back to you for now.
Sija, thank you so much for this. Let's check on the commute now with CP24's traffic specialist, Adrienne Ciebois, as so many people are probably heading to holiday parties. Not us, though.
No, we're here. We're working.
Here.
We're here working, just having a good time. If you're making it around, you're not having the best time if you're trying to make your way to that holiday party. It's slow on most of the major area highways, and you're running into a couple of problems, Bakari and Arda. So this is on the 401 westbound in the Express, just on the approach to Yonge Street. 2 right lanes blocked because of a stalled transport truck. Heavy tows on scene, but MTO decided to block another lane. So the drive out of Scarborough, not a nice one. Very, very slow from actually before Kennedy all the way over towards that situation. Then if you're traveling on the eastbound 401, delays start from Dixie all the way out to past Bathurst, where in the collectors we're dealing with a stalled vehicle that's blocking the right lane. Bit of good news, we had problems on the southbound 400 just over the 401. It was a collision in the right lane, and that's why traffic still remains very, very busy. And if you're headed towards Front near Bay, it is not accessible. It is closed, not for anything happening on the service routes. It's because on TTC Line 1, there is no service between Ossington and Osgood. It's all the result of a serious situation that happened at Union Station. I'll send it back to you both.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Well, the city says that there's not going to be a timeline for when residents who were displaced by fire at a Thorncliffe Park high-rise last month will be able to return home until at least next week.
Officials say firefighting efforts are still ongoing after the fire broke out on November the 27th. It has forced hundreds from their units. The fire is burning slowly through insulation in a space that's too tight for crews to access directly. The city says the situation is complex and making sure residents can return home once it's safe to do so remains a priority. It's now 5:11, -2, feeling like -9 tonight. This is Live at 5.
Well, the province has fired the TDSB's Director of Education months after taking control of the country's largest school board. We have reaction coming up. Well, months after the province took control of the Toronto District School Board, its Director of Education has been fired.
In a letter to parents, government-appointed Supervisor Rohit Gupta says Clayton Touche is leaving the TDSB effective immediately. Gupta says the TDSB needs a fresh start, and he made the decision with Education Minister Paul Calandra. Touche had joined the board in February of this year. Gupta says Associate Director Stacey Zucker will be the interim Director of Education.
And Education Minister Paul Calandra has released a statement. It reads, quote, under the continued leadership of the supervisor, the Toronto District School Board is refocusing on student achievement. I have full confidence that the supervisor, working with the interim director, will drive that focus and ensure every decision puts students first.
Ontario NDP leader Marit Stiles says the TDSB's move is nothing more than political meddling.
Once again, you have the government, the Minister of Education, who's appointed a conservative insider with no education experience at all as a supervisor, and now putting them in as interim Director of Education. I think parents are going to have some big concerns about that. We believe, and the legislation has been there for years, saying that the Director of Education should be an educator. That's the number one responsibility. So I'm really concerned about it, honestly. And I think it's, again, the government politicizing decisions at our school boards.
Adil Shamji is the Liberal MPP for Don Valley East, and he says that firing the Director of Education, it is a major overreach by the government.
We have a government that is dead set on running our education system like a one-man show from an office at Queen's Park. We have now reached the stage in our education system where we have decisions that are, where we have people with no discernible background in education who are terminating a TDSB director who has decades of experience. We should be focused on the things that matter to students, parents, and teachers. We should be talking and listening to them. Instead, we've got a government that's just pointing the blame and ignoring the fact that over the last 8 years, class sizes have soared, special education has been starved, and we have a mental health crisis of epic proportions.
When he was hired, the board described Touche as an inclusive, collaborative leader with a deep commitment to equitable achievement and well-being outcomes for all students. He previously had other roles within the TDSB, as well as the York School Board and the Ministry of Education. MPPs are headed home for the holidays until March.
Yeah, the abbreviated sitting, it wrapped up yesterday with opposition MPPs far from pleased with the break, which is going to last some 14 weeks. They have a lot of questions that they want answered, and they feel that the Ford government is simply running for cover after a rough session at Queen's Park.
Premier Ford is reacting today to the backlash over his government's decision to take a 14-week winter break from legislature.
There's a misnomer out there. Every one of our members work every single day. is 365 days a year. Just follow me online. We never stop working. I have members up in Sudbury making announcements. Southwestern Ontario, we have them spread all over the place. Just because we aren't in the legislature, it doesn't mean we don't get things done.
Okay, the next session at Queen's Park, that'll begin March 23rd. Well, some relief is on the way for transit riders in Scarborough.
The TTC is planning to open a dedicated bus corridor between Kennedy Station and Ellesmere Station next September. It will follow the 4-kilometer route of the former Scarborough RT, which closed in 2023. Mayor Olivia Chow says it will provide riders with faster, more reliable transit options during construction of the subway extension.
A trip from Scarborough Centre Station to Kennedy Station will take 15 minutes only, saving riders valuable time each day. That's time you can spend with your kids, time to grab groceries without rushing, time that belongs to you, not stuck on a bus.
Since the closure of Line 3 in 2023, commuters have been using an interim bus replacement service, which has benefited from transit priority measures put in place by the City of Toronto. With today's announcement, thousands of Scarborough transit riders will be able to look forward to a more seamless transit experience when the busway is finally finished. The busway will mean faster, more reliable service and will ensure Scarborough residents have the transit we need to get around until the subway is completed.
We looked at the activities which were in series in parallel. We looked at what we could do more effectively by working additional shifts, by putting the low-risk works onto the later shifts and high-risk works more in parallel. That saved time, saved hours, saved days, coupled with additional shifts. In parallel to that, we ordered all the materials, all the long lead items earlier, and that would give us the traction to give us a timeline. So the risk, we've de-risked the delivery times, we've de-risked the resources, we've got more resources, and we're doing more activities in parallel as opposed to series.
Work on the busway is being accelerated so it can open next September, months ahead of the original completion date of 2027. It's now 5:18, -2, feeling like -9. This is Live at 5.
Mark Carney's Liberals are one seat away from a majority. We're going to have a reaction to a GTA Conservative MP crossing the floor. Conservative MP Michael Ma, who represents Markham Unionville, has crossed the floor to join the Liberals.
Ma says he made the decision after listening carefully to the people in his riding in recent weeks and reflecting with his family on the direction of the country. Ma says Prime Minister Mark Carney is offering the steady, practical approach needed to deliver on the priorities that Ma says he hears about every day in his riding. His move puts the Liberals one seat shy of a majority government and follows the defection of another Conservative MP last month. Ma was celebrated at a Liberal holiday party last night.
Wow, such a big welcome. Thank you. Thank you. All I want to say is Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a great 2026 coming to all of you. Thank you, and enjoy the party.
Government House Leader Steve McKinnon responded to the new Liberal MP.
They realize, like we do, that we're at a turning point. They realize, like we do, that we're in a trade war and that serious solutions are required. And they are required every day to go through this charade of obstruction, and you see it, repeating the same question 40 times in the House of Commons every day. That is a soul-destroying experience for many Conservative members of Parliament.
CTV News political commentator Scott Reed says that this is a gut punch for Pierre Poilievre.
In the last 2 months, he's lost 3 members of Parliament. One has decided to quit altogether. Another cross to the Liberals. This MP from Markham, no pre-warning whatsoever. Nobody, because you say on the night prior, he was actually at the Conservative Caucus Christmas party. So this is a bit of a gut punch for Poilievre. And remember, it's all in the context of his leadership review, which is coming up in January. And there's recently been some polling that suggests that Conservative rank and file, even the Conservative rank and file, are not exactly screaming with joy from Whoville.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has responded to Ma's defection with this statement last night. Michael Ma was elected as a Conservative by the constituents of Markham-Unionville to fight against Liberal inflationary spending, driving up the cost of living in his community. Today, he chose to endorse the very policies he was elected to oppose. The same policies driving up food prices and making life more expensive for all. The people he let down the most are the ones who elected him to fight for an affordable future. He will have to answer to them.
It's 5:24, 2 below zero. This is Live at 5.
Some subway closures and GO train service disruptions happening this weekend. We'll tell you what you need to do to get around town this weekend. Coming up next.
There will be no subway service on parts of lines 1 and 2 this weekend.
On Line 1, trains won't be running between Osgoode and College because of track work. Shuttle buses will be operating instead. And on Line 2, no subway service between Ossington and St. George, also because of track work. There will be shuttle bus service instead. GO train service will be disrupted on the Lakeshore West line this weekend for track work.
There will be no train service between Burlington and Union Station Saturday and Sunday. Trains will run between Aldershot and Niagara Falls. So replacement buses, they're going to serve some stations in Oakville, Burlington, and Mississauga. So the Blue Jays, they are renewing President and CEO Mark Shapiro's contract for 5 years.
The extension comes on the heels of the Jays' first appearance in the World Series since 1993. Shapiro was named president and CEO of the Blue Jays after the 2015 season, succeeding the retiring Paul Beeston. The 58-year-old has spent 24 seasons with the Cleveland Guardians. Financial terms of Shapiro's contract extension were not disclosed. A hit Canadian TV series about a secret romance in the world of hockey is coming back for more episodes.
Heated Rivalry has been renewed for a second season. It tells the story of two rival NHL stars who wind up entangled in a clandestine love affair. It's exploded in popularity over the past few weeks, with clips being shared on social media. It's based on a series of books by Nova Scotia author Rachel Reed. The show is going to return to Crave and its U.S. streaming service partner, HBO Max. Crave's owned by Bell Media, which is the parent company of CP24.
It's now 5:28-2. This is Live at 5.
The province has fired the TDSB's Director of Education months after taking control of the country's largest school board. We have a reaction coming up.
The head of the TDSB has been fired, and the province says there's renewed focus on student achievement. We have reaction to this latest shakeup.
With more than $2.5 million in drugs seized, 10 guns confiscated, 34 people arrested, it's Project Hydrogen.
Progress in the fight against auto theft. It's down by 35% in York Region. We'll have more on Operation Auto Guard 3.0.
And we're less than 2 weeks away from Christmas. Police are trying to crack down on impaired driving this festive season. We're live at a ride check tonight.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Arda Zakarian.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. The province has fired the TDSB's Director of Education. This is months after taking control of the country's largest school board.
We're joined live by CTV's Janice Golding for more on what this means for parents and students. Janice.
Hi, Arda. Well, we don't know the implications at this point, but what I can tell you is that the Clayton Touche, who'd only served as Toronto District School Board's Director of Education since February, is now out of a job. The provincially appointed supervisor, Gohit Rupta, saying that in a memo to staff that it was going to be effective immediately because the board needed a fresh start. He said that they felt that the TDSB needed to set up for success in the years ahead, and with that in mind, he and the Minister of Education had made the difficult decision to make a leadership change, and this will involve moving the Associate Director, Stacey Zucker, into the position for the time being. The Education Minister, as you'll recall, Paul Calandra, had taken over 6 school boards in the last few months, saying that he had financial considerations that he was worried about with regard to the TDSB. In particular, he said that the board had rejected nearly half of cost-saving measures that had been suggested by management in the last 2 years. Now, critics, of course, are saying that this is not a question of incompetence on Touche's part, saying that he was an experienced educator who'd worked at the Toronto District School Board, the York Regional District School Board, as well as for the Ministry of Education, but rather a question of chronic underfunding to the tune of about $1,500 per student. They also say that there are just too many students per teacher. Here is more from the critics, the opposition critics, who were very harsh in their condemnation today.
Once again, you have the government, the Minister of Education, who's appointed a conservative insider with no education experience at all as a supervisor, and now putting them in as interim director of education. I think parents are going to have some big concerns about that. We believe, and the legislation has been there for years, saying that the director of education should be an educator. That's the number one responsibility. So I'm really concerned about it, honestly. And I think it's, again, the government politicizing decisions at our school boards.
What we've seen over the last 8 years is that class sizes have gone up. Students are struggling. We've got student-teacher ratios that aren't matching up to the standards that we expect. EQAO results just came out and gave a failing report card on the government's performance of our education system. What we need to be looking at is restoring the underfunding that is taking place in our education system. We've got about a $1,500 per student deficit in funding that needs to be restored.
Now, the Education Minister also says he will be making more changes to board governance in the new year with the role of trustees in mind. Critics, of course, saying to that removing trustees erodes input from both parents and community members. Reporting live, it's it from me here near the TDSB headquarters. Now back to you, Arda and Bakari.
Thank you so much for this, Janice.
Well, York Regional Police are announcing the results of a campaign. This is aimed at combating vehicle theft.
And for more on this initiative, let's go live to CP24's crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's in Markham tonight. Tell us more about this, Steve.
Yeah, our Operation Auto Guard 3.0 was a initiative that the York Regional Police started, and it was intelligence-led. So through crime analysis, they were able to identify hotspots here in Markham where vehicles were being stolen, and it was through community buy-in, education to community members, teaching them how they can decrease their chances of having their vehicle stolen, and through enforcement as well. York Regional Police saw a 35% reduction in auto theft. So this is a great example of proactive policing. It's a great example of the collaboration between the community and the police. And police officials always say that if the community trusts them, if there's trust between the community and the police, there will be that buy-in, there will be that cooperation, and together they can make a difference. And this is what we are hearing from York Regional Police today when they announced the results of Operation Auto Guard 3.0. Here's more from York Police, who we heard from earlier today. Let's have a listen to what they said.
Criminals don't like to reinvent the wheel, and this is why we do continue to deploy these same strategies year over year, because they are successful. Again, it goes to show the 242 charges laid against the 48 individuals just goes to show that these methods are effective in our communities.
73 vehicles recovered, totaling $5 million, 48 people arrested. And once again, it's worth repeating, this is a great example of a proactive policing and what can happen when the community and the police work together. So great work by York Regional Police, decreasing auto thefts by 35%. It's a big difference. Back to you guys.
Steve, thank you so much for this.
Well, dozens of people have been charged in a gun and drug investigation. This is dubbed Project Hydrogen.
This 9-month investigation covered areas across the GTA and even as far as Winnipeg. Police seized more than $2.7 million worth of illicit drugs and 10 firearms. They provided more details at a news conference today.
During this investigation alone, nearly half of the 34 individuals arrested were already bound by a release order from the courts, but we're still actively engaged in criminal activity. This is not a small number. It is a clear sign that the current system is not working as intended. When individuals who have already been given the conditions to protect the public continue to reoffend, it undermines community safety, community confidence in the justice system, and places enormous strains on our frontline officers. We are fully supportive of a justice system that is fair and balanced, but it must also be effective. Bail conditions need to be meaningful and enforceable and accompanied by consequences when they are violated.
With the assistance of multiple DRPS units and previously mentioned police services, a total of 61 search warrants were executed over a period of several weeks. within Durham Region, Toronto, Lindsay, York, Peel, and Winnipeg. The final warrants were executed yesterday morning, and the investigation was concluded. In total, 34 suspects were arrested and 139 charges were laid.
The operation involved police services across the GTA, OPP, and RCMP. And police are actually sharing the early results of their investigation. This is into a collision that left a child dead in Hamilton yesterday.
A 7-year-old was hit by a bus near Emerald and Wilson Street shortly after 1 p.m. The child was rushed to hospital but didn't survive. Police say investigators have determined that neither the bus driver nor the child's caregiver were responsible for the incident. The conclusion was reached based on witness statements and video gathered at the scene. Police say the investigation is still ongoing, but anyone with information is asked to come forward.
With less than 2 weeks to go until Christmas, the festive season, it's in full swing. That means a lot of people will probably be heading to holiday parties this weekend.
And CP24 CJ Lou is live at Highway 400 and Steeles, where the Toronto Police, York Regional Police, and the OPP are holding a joint ride spot check. Tell us more about this initiative.
Well, Arda, just outside here, there are dozens of police vehicles doing their festive ride program. And right now, I am standing inside the York Region ride truck. If you are a driver, you do not want to see the inside of this truck because that means you are driving impaired and you'll be in a lot of trouble. And here to talk more about the festive ride program, I'm joined by Constable Taylor Conkle, who is with the OPP. And Constable Taylor, what type of things are police looking for when you're doing these ride checks?
Yeah, so when you guys are coming through our ride line, we're looking for signs of impairment, odor, admission, signs like in the eyes and stuff like that, speech too. So that's what we're looking for. Maybe cans of beers in the passenger seat or in the floorboard. So that's things that we are looking for. We're also looking for drugs too. The odor of drugs, seeing drugs inside the car. That's what we're looking for.
And when you do notice something is wrong, you'll take out one of these and do a breath test. Show us how it works.
Yeah, so this is called an approved screening device. So if you come through our ride line and the officer has suspicion that you have consumed alcohol, we're going to be using one of these. So it's very simple to use. So I've turned it on already, and what we do is we read you a lawful demand from the criminal code first, and then we take one of these and we just put the straw in there just like that. We ask you to remove the plastic there. All right. Just pull there. Pull there. Okay, what you're going to do is take a deep breath and blow as hard as you can until I say stop. Okay, ready? Go, 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 go. Good. Okay, so it wasn't that long, right? And it's not that hard. I didn't feel like you were blowing that hard either. So it's real simple. And look at that. It's a pass for you, right? So no alcohol in your system or consumed today.
Good thing. Good thing it's a pass. That's what you want to see when you see the drivers. And the majority of drivers that you're seeing, are they passing?
Yeah, so majority of our drivers maybe have consumed 1 or 2 drinks and they're maybe blowing a low number and things like that. So this thing will also register, so 0 to 49 is a pass. And then we have our warn range, and then anything over 80 is a fail, right? Or over the legal limit. That's when you will be brought into one of these trucks and we'll do further testing with you to see what your actual numbers are.
Well, let's show you some of the further testing that you'll be doing. If you don't get a pass like I did on that breathalyzer, you'll be coming over here and doing another test on this device. Taylor, tell us what this is.
Yeah, so this is one of our intoxilizers, one of the new ones that we have on the 9000. So once you blow over on that first approved screening device, if you blow a fail, so then we'll bring you back to our detachment or into one of these ride vehicles, and we'll do further testing. So this gives us an actual number of your reading, and it will determine your blood alcohol concentration.
And over there's a bathroom and then a room you definitely don't want to use, right?
Yeah, so then the last room where we are right now, that's a privacy booth where you can speak to your lawyer with the privacy. No sound gets out. There's a washroom right here for people to use as well. And yeah, it's good. It's convenient for us to bring this to the scene and ride lines and not have to shuttle people back to our detachments or police stations.
And for people who are driving on the road, maybe they see a driver swerving, what should they do?
Yeah, if you see anybody swerving or you might think that they are impaired, please call 911. You can call 911 and let them know what is going on. The vehicle swerving, not maintaining its lane, it's drifting over without signals, no brake lights on or any lights on at nighttime too. That's a sign of impairment. Call 911. We love those calls, and the police officers out there love going out there and finding these cars and stopping them and checking their to see if they are impaired or not.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for all that information, Constable. And just to give you a few statistics, the RIDE program has been going on for about 3 weeks now. They have already stopped over 7,000 vehicles, 800 breath screening tests done, and 93 drivers charged. And Arda Bakari, just here at Highway 400 in Steeles, they've been here for about 2 hours now, and already one driver has been arrested for impaired driving, and they're hoping not to get anyone else for the rest of the night. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, reporting live, CP24, CJ Lu. Right now, it's 5:42. Let's get a check on the evening commute with CP24's traffic specialist, Adjoa Ntia Yeboah.
Yeah, Bakari, continuing to watch long-standing problems which are not leaving on this busy Friday afternoon. If you're on the westbound lanes of the 401, just as you head in the Express, just on the approach to Yonge Street, stalled transport with heavy tow on scene, still blocking those 2 left lanes. Again, it's your busiest route because of these problems. The delays actually back up from McCowan. And then further west on the 401, it looks like we are dealing with this stalled vehicle through Winston Churchill. It does have the right lane and shoulder block. No issues on the DVP, but jammed solid southbound and northbound between Don Mills and the 401. And if you're using the Gardner, also putting on the brakes as you exit the downtown core, approaching York Bay Yonge all the way out towards about Park Lawn. On city streets, a collision on Markham Road just north of Shepherd. I'll send it back to you both.
Thank you so much for this. It's now 5:43 -2. This is Live at 5.
And some reliefs on the way for transit riders in Scarborough. We're going to have details about a busway. It's set to open next September. Well, the city says that there's not going to be a timeline for when residents who were displaced by a fire. This happened at Thorncliffe Park high-rise. This was last month, when they're going to be able to return home until at least next week.
Officials say firefighting efforts are still ongoing after the fire broke out on November the 27th, and it has forced hundreds of people from their units. The fire is burning slowly through insulation in a space that's too tight for crews to access directly. The city says the situation is complex, and making sure residents can return home once it is safe to do so remains a priority.
And MPPs are headed home for the holidays until March.
The abbreviated sitting wrapped up yesterday with opposition MPPs far from pleased from the break that will last some 14 weeks. They have a lot of questions they want answered and feel the Ford government is simply running for cover after a rough session at Queen's Park. Premier Ford is reacting to the backlash over his government's decision to take a 14-week winter break from legislature.
This misnomer that people don't work is an absolute false misnomer. Follow us. There's one thing our party has, a work ethic second to none. And that's what I've instilled. You continue to work, and it's when I say it's 365 days a year, it's 365 days a year. And the Christmas holidays are the busiest time for me. And just give you an idea, I get about 1,000 messages a day. I'm behind 5,343 messages as of today. Every issue you can think of.
The next session at Queen's Park, it'll begin March 23rd.
Some relief is on the way for transit riders in Scarborough. The TTC is planning to open a dedicated bus corridor between Kennedy Station and Ellesmere Station next September. It will follow the 4-kilometer route of the former Scarborough RT, which closed in 2023. Mayor Olivia Chow says it will provide riders with faster, more reliable transit options during construction of the subway extension.
The busway runs 4 kilometers along the old Line 3 route. It starts at Kennedy Station, which stops at Tara Avenue, Lawrence East Station, and here at Ellesmere Station. Then the bus use Ellesmere bus lanes to Scarborough Town Centre. And once it opens, we expect 120,000 people to use the busway every week.
With the acceleration of the busway, Scarborough commuters can finally look forward to using a dedicated busway before the start of winter 2026, months sooner than the previous projected date of 2027. This is not just about speeding up construction. It's about delivering results faster for people who rely on transit every single day.
Work on the busway is being accelerated so it can open next September, months ahead of the original completion date of 2027.
Okay, some Via Rail passengers, they're speaking out. This is after a train ride from Toronto to Ottawa. It turned into an overnight trip.
The train 48 was stopped in Brockville on Wednesday night after a mechanical failure with another train. The 114 passengers did not reach Ottawa until noon on Thursday, more than 12 hours later than scheduled.
We all ended up banding together and supporting one another, but it was definitely a bit of a rocky situation.
People were having trouble sleeping. The chairs weren't very comfortable. The thing that was good was that the train wasn't full, so some people could lie across two seats, but it's still not ideal. There were no blankets, no pillows, no nothing. So even though it wasn't cold, it wasn't particularly the most comforting environment to be in.
Via Rail is apologizing, saying, quote, "It's not the level of service our passengers accept from us, and certainly not the level of service we want to offer."
It's now 5:50 minus 2. This is Live at 5.
Today's the deadline to claim a slice of the Loblaw's bread price fixing settlement. We're going to tell you how.
Welcome back. It's the final day to claim a slice of the Loblaw's bread price fixing settlement. Anyone who purchased packaged bread between 2001 and 2021 can make a claim with no proof of purchase required. The lawsuit alleged Loblaw engaged in an industry-wide scheme to fix bread prices. The $500 million settlement was approved in May. Consumers who didn't claim a previous $25 gift card could receive $50 to $75, while those who did can still apply, but will have that amount deducted from their share.
Well, the Elbows Up movement, it has inspired more Canadians to try and support local businesses, but new numbers from Nanos reveal that there are some barriers to buying Canadian this holiday season. So nearly half of respondents say cost, that is the biggest obstacle when it comes to buying Canadian goods over the holidays. That number increasing to 60% for those under the age of 35. Among other challenges, about 33% reported availability. That was a challenge. 32% said transparency or being uncertain where product was from. It makes it even harder to exclusively shop for Canadian-made goods.
Conservative MP Michael Ma, who represents Markham Unionville, has crossed the floor to join the Liberals.
Ma says that he made the decision after listening carefully to the people in his riding in recent weeks and also reflecting with his family on the direction of the country. Ma says that Prime Minister Mark Carney is offering the steady, practical approach needed to deliver on the priorities that Ma says he hears about every day in his riding. His move puts the Liberals one seat shy of a majority government and follows the defection of another Conservative MP last month. Ma was celebrated at a Liberal holiday party last night. And CTV News political commentator Scott Reed says that this is a gut punch for Pierre Poilievre, whose leadership review is coming up in January.
The Liberals were having their caucus Christmas party. This gave them a great big candy cane to wave around. No question, it was very deliberate, the timing. But, the truth of the matter is that when members of Parliament cross, it's all about opportunities. So obviously some discussions have been happening with this member of Parliament. There was no buzz about this around Parliament Hill. In fact, if any, after those defections we saw earlier in the fall, the suggestion had been that the Conservatives have really tamped down their caucus and they tightened things up. Obviously not so.
It's 5:55 minus 2. This is Live at 5.
And coming up, the Premier got into the holiday spirit in Etobicoke today.
Ho, ho, ho!
Welcome back. Premier Doug Ford is getting into the holiday spirit one day after the legislature wrapped up for an extended winter break. Take a look.
Ho, ho, ho!
Ford stopped by the Etobicoke Salvation Army this morning with bags full of toys to donate. The Premier spoke to staff, thanking them for their work and even helped Santa fill some sacks.
My dad, when he grew up, 9 kids, he was the youngest of 9. His father died when he was 3 months old. He relied on the Salvation Army, and it's been instilled in our family to support and give back to communities. And one of many avenues is the Salvation Army.
We have a lot of need in our community of Etobicoke North and the area of Woodbridge that we serve, and we're looking to help meet the needs for toys and for funding to help support our food bank and other programs throughout the year of 2026.
5:59 minus 2. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
We leave you with a live look at a festive ride check This is at 400 and Stills as we head into the second to last weekend before Christmas. Thank you for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.